Chulin. Today's Chulin Daf Lamed Aleph, Daf Tzadi Aleph, and we are Daf Tzadi Amid Beis. Good morning, Daf Tzadi Amid Beis. On the about 10 lines at the bottom, B'yerech shel Yiminu, B'yerech shel Smol. Right. So the Mishnah said that Bez Hashem, there's a lot of you say this about Giranosha, what exactly the Metzias on the Giranosha is, and also we're going to have a lot of Haggadah the Gemara's, famous Haggadah the Gemara's from Rashi and Chumash Bez Hashem today. So the Mishnah said that the Giranosha is Noeg B'yerech shel Yimin U B'yerech shel Smol. Zok the Gemara. Masnisin the like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Ein Noeg Ela Ba'achas. It's only one of them, either the right or the left. One of them. V'hadas machras es shel Yimin. And I'm not sure. It might be, but Adas Machras is Shel Yimin. Hiboyelu. Frankly, Gemara Klati Gemara. Mifshit Pshitale LeRabbi Yehuda. Is the pshat is that he was amateur, but he says Adas Machras, meaning that it's Mifshit Pshitale. That once he has a drasha that says that it's Taka Shel Yimin. Umay das Torah oidil mosfuki misapkele. Umay das noita. In other words, ultimately, does it apply a suffix that is it the Yemin of the small, or Lemaisa Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's the Yemin mitam vade. That is the Gemara suffix. Now, Rashi says the Gevshmak is The Gemara is going to say, what's the pshat? The Gemara is going to bring a few yalfusas. How do we know that how does Rabbi Yehuda know that it's dafka the Yemin? The Gemara is going to say a few drashas. Either because hayerech or because behei avkoi imoi, and behei avkoi imoi is a whole drasha that the pshat is that by wrestling, if you're wrapping your hand around, so your right hand ends up on the other guy's right thigh, and that's the Gemara is going to say. That's going to be one of the drashas. So when in the side of the Gemara of Das Torah, Rashi says a drasha, yesh le drasha, but picking up. So again, so this is a very important thing. The Gemara is going to bring drashas. Drashas if it's Yemin, either hayerech or behei avkei imai, and then we're going to have loite chacham that disagree, and they hold that it's both the yerech shel Yemin and the yerech shel Smol. They're going to have different pasuk in behei avkei imai. Rashi over here, when the Gemara has a suffix, if it's das Torah, Rashi says kidiyol come on. If it's a svara, Rashi says, because when you're fighting, it would be a wrestle. That's one of the drushes later on. What exactly does Rashi mean? Now the teretz is very gishmak. In the tzad of the Gemara that Rabbi Yehuda is mistapek, adas machras, it's a suffix. What's the suffix? The teretz is Rashi in the tzad of the Gemara that it's a suffix. Rabbi Yehuda is going to darshan just like the Chachamim, and that Behei Avkei Imai is not here for a drasha that it's the right thing, but Lamaisa Soif Kol Soif. We all know what the story was, that they were wrestling. So Misvara, he will be mistapa that it was the right foot, but that's the word that it will be a das machras, but not. That's the pshat that it will be a sfuki misapkele, but not a das Torah. But the pshat is it looks similar to the Gemara later on, but it's not the Gemara later on at all. The Gemara later on is a Jerasha, like the Gemara is talking going to be pushed to review the whole Tamvade. Rashi over here that says that excuse me. That it came from wrestling. Rashi means misvari. He's saying wrestling without the pasuk of Behei Avkei Imai. Behei Avkei Imai is not an extra pasuk. It's coming to say something else. And just Rabbi Yehuda holds that Sevil Tzachzogin, that he's saying misvara, that we know that they were wrestling, and Mamela, that's where it came from. That he would say that it's the right. Yeah, that's not good. But I'm saying, even though Rashi sounds like he's saying the drush of later, he's not saying the drush of later. He's saying the simile for. Yeah, very gishmak, very clear. The only thing is like this. The only thing was the gebliben is both of these tzadim really in the Gemara needed a little bit of a hezbah, because what is if it's a drasha? So what's Rabbi Yehuda saying? V'hadas machras shoyimin. Why do you say hadas machras shoyimin? It's a drasha. It's mashma like there was. I wasn't sure, but then it's a hachra. What's those two steps? It's a little needs a little hezbollah. What's the pshat of Rabbi Yehuda? Yeah, that's one. Right, and you have really the same question on the other side. If it's Svuki Mizapkele and Lamaisa, we have to be Machmer on both. So what's in the game that, oh, by the way, if you would ask me, I would vote that it's the right, but I don't know. Why is that relevant? If it's Svuki Mizapkele, why is it relevant that I'm voting that it's the Yemin? This still needs a hezber, pashta pshatava in what Rabbi Yehuda says. Okay, Zakti Gemara Vayta. Let's move on. So yeah, we have to really keep on moving. Zakti Gemara Vayta. Toshman ha'atzomis v'hagidim v'hanoisar yisefu l'shisha. So this halach is talking about the Korban Pesach, and we famously cannot. There's no shreifas kachim on Yom Tif, so therefore everything has to wait till the first day Chol Hamoed in Eretz Yisrael. The first day Chol Hamoed is on the 16th of Nisan. Now. So there's three reasons, and so one of the things is gidim, right? Gidim. So now, why are we burning these gidim, right? What are the three options of gidim? Gidim could either be that they're simply not edible. If they're not edible, that's why it was left over. Or the pshat is somebody left it over because he was over. He should have eaten it, or it was nicer, right? But if it's not one of those two options, so why was it left over? Teretz says it's meat. Yeah, you can have three types of right. If it's meat, you shouldn't have eaten it, right? That's frankly Gemara. What's this atzomas vagidim anoisar yisrefu l'shisha asa? Yeah, atzomas is bones, and Rashi explains that the atzomas, not regular non-edible bones, they don't have to be burnt because the sreifa is only something that should have been eaten. Okay. So atzomas are the bones that are the coolest bones, the thigh bones that have marrow bones. They have meat inside, so therefore they have a din of basar. Fine. So hani gidim ayaviditayu. What kind of gidim are we talking about? Gidi basar. If it's gidim that are soft, they're edible, so eat them. V'diater elamite. What happened? He was supposed to eat it, and he left it over. So we already said that. Why does the gidim that he left over, which are soft and edible, why does that get its own category? That's regular noisa. You're supposed to eat it. Ella, you want to say that we're talking about what we're talking about? Gidei tzavar must be that we're talking about what non-edible bones. Why do I have to burn it? Ilav basa ninu lishdinu. So throw it out. What's this thing? Why isn't it Sreifa B'cha? Meila Atzamois, we're talking about marrow bones that have meat inside. But Gidim, throw it out. And we know Rav Chizda said it hurts. It must be talking about that the pshat is that we have something over here. We have something that we're not eating, but it's really edible, and you could have eaten it, but you're not eating it because why? Because it's a suffix deraisa. It's a suffix of Gid Anosha, like Rabbi Yehuda, right? The Amma ain't noig ba'achas. The Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's not noig. It's only noig in one of them. And memela what? So memela we can't eat it, and we can't eat it because it's a suffix Gid Anosha, but it's be'etzim edible, and we don't know that it's also. So memela needs reifa. Kishmak pshat. Frankly, Gemara is a gladly a raya that it's still a suffix. Rav Chizda's pshat is a beautiful pshat if you hold that if it's takem suki misapkele, because each gid is a suffix deraisa of gid anosha, but midach is a suffix basar. So memela, I can't eat it because it's a suffix gid anosha, but I need sreifa because it's a suffix basar. But if Rabbi Yehuda already was a das Torah, that the pshat is that now he knows that it's the right one. So why are we burning? The left one, let's eat, and the isura l'shtaya, and the isura let's throw out. Well, what's going on over here? Right? No. Avada is mifshab shitlei. So Rashi says the hokru is lav dafka. In other words, l'soif nisarvu. And we're talking about gidim that got mixed up. You know, there's a right gid and a left gid. They look extremely similar, right? We have two gidei nasha, the right one and the left one. Even like Rabbi Yehuda, I guess they were removed for whatever reason. One of them because it's asa to eat, and the other one because and the other one stam, he took it out for whatever reason, and lamaisa, and they got mixed up. So Mele got mixed up, so it's a suffix gid anasha, and that's why after the suffix gid anasha it'll be a problem of the same cheshbon. It's a suffix basa, suffix gid anasha, kishmak pshat Rav Chisda. Rav Ashi Amar basa. What do you the basa? It's nicer.
It's nicer.
What do you say? That's nicer. Oh, on the Rav Ashi Amar lo nitzchel l'sham noi. We're going to see Be'ez Hashem that Gid Anosha, in the Gid Anosha, around the Gid Anosha, there's a fat. And we're going to see Tzarech L'chatit Acharov, this is part of it, there's a fat. And the fat of Gid Anosha is also Nesa Midrabanon. But since it's only also Midrabanon, so Memel is the Chelik of the Gid Anosha, Midai Rice. And therefore, Avad is going to be told in Serefa. We're not going to eat it because it's Midrabanon, but Midai Rice, but since it's not Gid Anosha Midrabanon, Midai Rice, so Memela, it needs Serefa. Detanya, Shmanei Mutter, V'yisrael, Kedoshim Lagu Bei Iser. Shman Noi, it's Shemen. We're going to see that Bez Hashem tomorrow. At the end of tomorrow's block, Bez Hashem, we're going to see more about this. Shman Noi, its fats are mutter, the fats that are around the Gid Anasha are mutter. Yisrael Kedoshim Naga By Yisa. Ravina Ama, another similar teretz to Rav Ashi's teretz that we're talking about. Lenitzcha El Lich Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel. Dam Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel. Shnei Gidim Heim. That there's Be'etzem two Gidim. There's a Pnimi Samuch Le'etzem. And the pnimi samach le'etzem is aser, the chayav and olav, and chitzon samach le'baser is aser ve'en chayav and olav. That is the taich. That there's be'etzem there are two gidim, two big nerves that run down the leg, and there's the pnimi samach le'etzem, which is the gid anasha midaraisa. And then there's the chitzon samach lebasar, which is only asa midrabanan. And for this chitzon, that's chitzon that samach lebasar, which is asa midrabanan, we have the same cheshbon that midaraisa you have to eat it, so memela it's told sreifa. But midrabanan you can't eat it, so memela what you left it over. Very gishmak pshat. Now, what is these two gidim? I will just tell you very very close. It's be'etzem atosis later on, but there is a very, very big problem. There's a big problem in identifying what this chitzon samach lebasar is. Yeah, there's a big shaila. Big machoikis. There's a big shaila what this chitzon samach lebasar is. Rashi explains it one way, and we'll show a picture of that. But lemaisa, the menakrim are very bothered by the mitzias, and Tosfos has a different mahalach. This is really a shmooze later on, I'll show it to you quickly. We're going to have to be ma'ayin a little bit later in Berach. I think it's Daf Tzadi Beis, Daf Tzadi Gimel. We're going to have to be ma'ayin a little bit more. But the shaila is what here's Rashi's taich. Rashi says like this, that this is second. This is how Rashi teaches it. Rashi teaches that this is going to be called the Pnimi, and this is called the Chitzon. Okay? This is the teich. Now, why is this called the Pnimi and this is called the Chitzon, Zak Rashi? I'll tell you why. Zak Rashi, the Chitzon is closer inside the leg. It's more inside the leg, right? In other words, facing the next leg. And this one is outside, facing the outside. So that's why this is called the chitzon, and this is called the pnimi, gishmak. That's Rashi's pshat, very gishmak. That's how Rashi learns. If the Matthias is like that, that's how Rashi learns. Now, why is this called samach le'etzem and this is one called samach lebasar? So Rashi because this one, when it gets down to the bottom, it runs next to the etzem. Or over here, at some point it runs to an etzem. This one runs straight into basar, and that's where it's last seen. At least a component of it runs into this muscle, and therefore it's called the samach lebasar. This is how Rashi teaches. Yeah. What exactly, how we're going to stem the Metzias with the Taich? This is what Rashi says. This is called the Pnimi, this is the Gid HaNasha, and it's called the Pnimi because it's closer inside to facing the other leg. This is called the Chitzon because it's outside the animal, facing the ear. And this one is Samach Lebasar because it goes into the meat over here. This one is Samach Le'etzem because at the bottom it goes it touches the etzem. That's what Rashi teaches. This is Gid HaNasha B'Daraisa. This is Gid HaNasha B'Darabanan. And Memela, what our Mishnah what they was talking about over here in the Mishnah that we brought down from Psachim is talking about this Gid, which I can't eat Midrabanan because it's the Chitzon that's also Midrabanan. But Midaraisa it's Basar and it's Mechuyev Sreifa. That is how Rashi learns. Now,
Leave it over.
what?
Leave it over.
Yeah, you have to leave it over, but it's stone Sreifa, and you burn it on the 16th. Yeah, that's how.
You have to leave it over 'cause it's also-
Yeah. Okay, that is how Rashi learns. Now, the Metzias, we're going to Be'ez Hashem be Ma'arich and Tosis later on, but I will just show you quickly the other mahalach, the other mahalach, which is the way the Menakrim hold is the Metzias is karev more to Tosis Shita, that the taich of we're talking about different nerves, and the taich of samach lebasar and samach le'etzem is a different thing, and pnimi echitzim is something else. They mamash taich the thing completely different. The way they taich is that pnimi samach le'etzem means that it's really, really deep inside the thigh. It's so close. It's samach le'etzem. And then there's chitzon, meaning when you judging for moving out, it's chitzon, it's very, very close to the skin. It's samach lebasar. That's the two. That's how they teach it. And I'll show you real quickly. Start with a picture of the Gid HaNasha itself. Right here's the Gid HaNasha. There's a picture from Chulin Illuminated. Here's a picture of the Gid HaNasha. So here, this bone. He removed this muscle from the bone. It's really normally covering the bone, right? This nerve is normally running over the calf, over this muscle, but they wanted to show the coolness. Okay, fine. And this is covering it over. But you see how close it is to the etzem. So this is the pnimi samach le'etzem. Very gishmak. The other one is the chitzon samach lebasar. Is the chitzon samach lebasar is this one? Is this nerve? This nerve, if you see, this is the skin was taken off. They didn't open up many things. They didn't have to open up many muscles. It's right here. There's this tiny little piece of muscle that's there. Right under it is the chitzon samach lebasar. So that's very gishmak. The taich like Tosis is the chitzon samach lebasar is right here. Yeah, that's how Tosis shita of what the chitzon samach lebasar is. But that's we'll hopefully be ma'arich more in next year. But let's move on. Okay, we have a lot to cover. Let's. Yeah, gishmak. So we have three eitzes for the Mishnah in Psachim. Why are you burning the gidim? Either it's pashta suffik, like review there was a suffik mixed up the right and the left, and Rav Ashi and Ravina had other terutzim that were talking about either the shmana yishal gid or we're talking about the chitzon, which are both also only midrabanan, and therefore because it is drabanan, it's still tone straight for Tashma. Achal mizeh kezayis umizeh kezayis. If he ate from this one a kezayis and from this one a kezayis, soifik shmoinim. So Rashi tells Avek very clear from the lashon of achal mizeh kezayis umizeh kezayis. It's mashma that it was done in two separate actions. Yeah, don't say that it was done all at once. Yeah, mizeh kezayis umizeh kezayis, soifik shmoinim. You get 80. Like the Tanakama, it's very gishmak. Why? Because like the Tanakama, you mechuyev for sai side Yemen or the small are both a get anosha. But Rabbi Yehuda any safik al arbaim. Frakti marakasha very gishmak. Why I'm not getting 80? Because Rabbi Yehuda holds only one. But Frakti mar if it's Msuki Misapkele Yamr Bishlama Mifshib Shitule Shapir Eli Yamr Tsuki Misapkele. But if Rabbi Yehuda is Mesopik. Havile Asra Safik, Shamina Le Rabbi Yehuda, Dam Asra Safik Loishme Asra. We know Rabbi Yehuda's sheet is that Asra Safik is Loishme Asra. So it's true that amongst the two that he ate, there is one that's Mechuyev, either the right or the left. But if we don't know which one it is, it blives Asra Safik. And we know Rabbi Yehuda holds that Asra Safik is Potter. Where do we know? Where do we know? We brought this down to Tanya. If somebody was born from a marriage that was a second marriage, and this woman married her second husband very close within very very close to her last husband, and then a child was born. And we don't know if it's 7 months old from the second husband or it's 9 months or full term from the first husband. So he has a suffix who his father is. Yeah, and so then the tiny let's say this child, who was born out of such a marriage and doesn't know who his father is. So he turned out to be Yenach Everman. Obviously, what? What'd you say?
I did.
Yeah, he turned out to be quite a what's called. Whenever any father wanted to discipline him, he says, "Hey, you're not even my father." You know what I mean? He was obviously so. Anyway, so he turned out to be how he turned out. The Tanya he ended up hitting one and the other one at the same time. He hit this one, then he hit that one. Oh, or he kishneim b'vasachas, or shekil shneim b'vasachas chayiv. So he's chayiv on all of them. The Tanakama holds it's no problem. You'll be chayiv. Why? Because amongst the two, he obviously hit his father. We don't know which one, but it doesn't matter. Rabbi Yehuda holds that if he did both at 1 second in the same vasachas, so he's chayiv because that's asur asvadai. Mashenkin, if he did it b'zachazeh, each one was asur asafik and asur asafik is potter. So back to our question. Why did Rabbi Yehuda say in that case where somebody ate two gidanoshes, 2 gidanoshes in Mechuyev 40, he should be Mechuyev nothing because it's true that amongst the two there's one, but it's Rabbi Asar Safik. So no, the fact that Rabbi Yehuda holds Asar Safik Shmei Asar is not clear. There's 2 Rabbi Yehudas. We have a machlokes what Rabbi Yehuda holds. So Hi Tana Savalaki Idach Tana the Rabbi Yehuda. The Tana of that brisa can still hold that it's a suffix, and we don't know. I saw a suffix of why Mechuyev 40. There's another school of thought in the school of Rabbi Yehuda, of the Talmid of Rabbi Yehuda, that Rabbi Yehuda held that Hasra suffix is chayiv. Where do we have that? So Gemara de Tanya. We're talking about noisar. Now noisar is by definition Hasra suffix. Why is noisar by definition Asra Safik? Because noisar is if you did not eat it until the morning, right? So at any given time, he could have eaten it. So at any second, it's impossible to be master somebody to get Asra for having not eaten. Not eating it ad boika. And Lamaisa, here's a brisa that discusses why you're not mechuyev malchus for noisa. And Rabbi Yehuda himself discusses it, and he doesn't say out Asar Safik. Must be that what Asar Safik, like this brisa in Rabbi Yehuda, this school of thought in the school of Rabbi Yehuda holds that Asar Safik is chayiv. Yeah, that what the Tanya says that the reason why. It says right? So the Rabbi holds, and we married a little bit in Rashi when it was brought down earlier in Doisavez Benoit, the same exact Gemara, that the pshat is it's a shmuz if this is going to be called a nittig lasei. Everybody holds that nittig lasei is part of a malchus. But the question is if this is a proper nittig lasei, we're not going to go into it today. Let's. What?
Why don't we say to lav shei b'maisa?
So to Gemara, very gishmak. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yankiv, Omer, Lo min Hashem uzeh, Elam shem dehavle lav shein by ma'aseh, cholav shein by ma'aseh like no. Very gishmak, very good. Mechav given to Rabbi Yehuda, to Rabbi Yankiv. Yeah, so but so it comes out like this. This Noiser case has question. We have three possibilities why you part from Malchus. Either al asur asafik, which is not mentioned in this brisa. Obviously, Rabbi Yehuda of this brisa doesn't hold like that. Or Rabbi Yankiv says alav shein b'maisa, and or alt a or alt a nitik lase. But what's in the get to we still don't have a raya if Rabbi Yehuda was das Torah or das Noita. Toshma, here's the raya. This is going to be the kill shot. Toshma, achal beis gitim, mi beis yerechos, mi beis behemois. If he ate two gitim from two thighs, from two behemoths. So why would he have to say two behemoths? So Rashi, right away. If from the fact that it says mi beis behemois, obviously the only reason why I would want dafka from two behemoths is because I'm worried about Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yehuda holds that what? That you can't get two asur gidim from two legs. So soifik pay you get 80 malchus Rabbi Yehuda and soifik yala arboim. You only get 40. Sakti mara mi dikama mi beis yereches mi beis behemoth pshita tetavayli surah. Right? And it must be Rabbi Yehuda Itzrich. Shma mina mifship shitolei. So we're already good. We know for sure if like Rabbi Yehuda I'm going to be chayiv, and I didn't do both. I only got two rights or two lefts, right? So there's no question about it that we're going with Rabbi Yehuda, and there's no question that that Rabbi Yehuda was mifship shitolei and he holds das Torah, but it's still not good. Why is it still not good? Because fact the Gemara, what?
We'll talk about Pesach, right?
If fact the Gemara kasha ipshitolei am I sefik mem if Rabbi Yehuda taka was poished that it's the right one. Am I sefik mem? So why are you getting malchus b'chlal? Am I sefik mem? I'm sorry. Why are you only getting 40? Am I sefik mem? V'suloi pay a loki pay. You should have gotten 80. Why? Because he ate two rights. So it's talking about a case where it's less bekezayis and it's a zaytiga machlokes of Yehuda and the Chachamim. No shaykhis to the question of right or left. Another separate machlokes. The what? The Tanya achloi vein bekezayis chayiv. The Tanakama holds if you ate the whole giranosha, it blibes a beria and you chayiv for eating the whole kezayis. Rabbi Yehuda achi hey by kezayis until it needs kezayis. So tomorrow of a time, the achi hey by kezayis and the machlokes is what? Yeah. The question is if this is considered a beria. In other words, there's no question about it. When you have a small ant or whatever it is, even if it's not a kazayis, but that's a beria. Over here, the question is: do we have one is a complete nerve? If you do the whole thing, does that remain? Could that be considered a beria, or that's considered just a chelik of the basar? And that's the shaila lagabe this question. Now, Rashi earlier discussed what the pshatava of the case is. Achle mizeh kezayis. The less boy kezayis. If it less boy kezayis means that there was no kezayis, but amongst the two there is a kezayis, or the word is that one of them doesn't have a kezayis. Yeah. If the case is that one of them does not have a kazayis, it's a little bit shver. Why did the Tana discuss the case in such a weird way, where there was one that was yesh by kazayis and one that wasn't a kazayis? It's a little bit tzarich in exactly that knech in that in why would we be talking about such a weird case? The question is
that's why you got bored because one had a kazayis and one didn't have a kazayis.
Yeah. Right, like the second pshat. One of them doesn't have, like this pshat, the pshat that Rashi learns Lamaisa, that one had kazayis, and the other one didn't have kazayis. And I'm not mixing them. And the one that didn't have kazayis is a machlokes that the Tanakama Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanakama holds, I'm going to get malchus because why? Because the Bar Yehuda is going to hold them. I'm not going to get malchus. So what's an negeya b'chalal for this knech of what's in the gear? Why is in the gear this to talk about two other beis gidim? What does a beis gidim have to do with it? Like
one gid.
Yeah, one. Yeah, exactly.
What did you say?
One gid less than the kazayis. It's the the same thing. Right?
Yeah, it's a plea. It's a big schwerkeit in this question. Okay, so to Gemara right. The time of my. So now that we established that Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's dafka the right, so now we have to explain why. For time of my Omar Kro ha yerech ha miyumene sheber yerech ha yerech. It says ha yerech. Ha yerech is mashma. It's the important one. What's the important thigh? That's the right one. For Rabbanon, no. Hahu the pashet isurei b'kula yerech. Lafukechitz and the like. The Torah wants to help describe which one is the Gid Anash that's also midaraisa, and the way the Torah describes it is the one that's the hayerach, the one that fully takes in the whole yerach. The Pashet Isurei B'Kul Yerech runs along the whole thing. Lafuke Chitzin Deloy, which is it's coming La'afuke to say that the Chitzin is not the Gid Anasha that's also midaraisa, because the Gid Chitzin does not run through the whole, doesn't run down the whole leg like we had that picture. It's just it stops at one point. This is how Rashi says the Lashon Gemara. Now exactly we're going to use these words of these Gemara to define which is the Chitzin, which is the Pnimi. We're going to see different shittas and what that means, but that's not for now. Yeah, but that's this Gemara. Let's move on. So Gemara right there, Rabbi Shua Balevi Omar Kra, a different pshat, a different makar. How do we know? How do like Rabbi Yehuda that it's the Yemin? Omar Kra be'av ke'imai ke'odem shechayvik es chaveri, person that hugs his friend. V'yadei magas lekaf yaminai shel chaveri. If people are they're in a lock jam and they're what's called they're wrestling. And his right hand ends up all the way around on the other guy's right hand, and that's the one that gets, and obviously the one that's going to get affected is the one that the right hand reaches, and that's how he what's it called it. He was able to injure him on the right yamin. I'll show you a picture of that. 1 second. Okay, yeah, right. So this is the picture. Let's move back on to the Gemara. So the Gemara right. That this Malach he showed up looking dressed up like an Eini Yehudi. And Memela, therefore Yaakov had him on his right side. Yisrael that's going together with any Yehudi on the way. Make sure he keeps him on his right side. He should be next to his next to his strong hand that he could draw the gun real quickly with his right hand and take care of it. That's the Gemara. That is the and Memela, he kept him on the right side. So Memela, since he kept him on the right side, so Memela that when the Malach was able to hit him, he hit him for the right side. That is the Gemara. Now the question is, I don't understand. Beheyav Kayimai. What's with Beheyav Kayimai? They were wrestling forever. Who's talking about going on away? The whole time while they were fighting in a bitter brawl, and they were swishing around, rolling around on the floor, and the whole time he kept them on the right side. Why would he keep them on the right side? If you're in the middle of a fight, it's not in the get to keep them on the right side. What's going on here? What's pushing the Metzias here? The next case of the Gemara is also Shver. Shmuel bar Racha kamei Rav Papa. Mishmei Rava bar Ula Ama ki Talmud Chacham nidmaloi. Fakir, the Malach showed up like a Talmud Chacham. Damamar Malach Yamin Rabbi Harei a bor. If somebody's to the right of his Rebbe, he's a bor. So Memela, this was somebody so he had to keep the Malach to his right side. So since he was he had him on his right side, so the Malach hit him on the right side. But again, the question is, when exactly was this story? When exactly was this story that he was keeping him liyamina? I mean, they were in a brawl. I don't understand what's going on over here. one more shtickle Gemara, and then we'll say Rabbanon me'achoyrei. So what did Rabbanon say? Nah, me'achoyrei asa v'nashia b'tarvayu. That he came. That Rabbanon say that the malach came from the back and he clipped him with both legs. He came from the back and he came. Yeah. That's the Gemara. So I think that the pshat is if you look at the Seder of the Psukim, the pasuk says, "Vayvasi Yaakov levado v'yavik Yishim me'adel izashacha vayar ki lo yochaloi vayiga bekaf yireichoi." So everybody's masking that they were rolling around on the floor. Fine, and then vayar ki yochaloi, and Yaakov Avinu got up. And, Hatzbach, that was it. And then he clipped him. So Mamela, at that point, when he was leaving, that was when Yaakov Avinu was Taifla Liyaminai, or either because he's a Tabu Chacham or he's a Amoritz. And like the Chacham, it's very gishmak. Why they say that he came from the back? Why do you say he clipped him from the back? Why did he clip him from the back? Because it was Vayakil Yochaloi. Vayiga B'kaf Yireichai, while as he was leaving. Very gishmak. What's the word? I just don't know one thing. One thing that I mamish can't understand. I looked around, can't understand. What's the Vayiga B'kaf Yireichai? How did the Chachamim teach the pasuk? The pasuk says Vayiga B'kaf Yireichai. Yireichai is mashma 1, not 2. Vayiga B'kaf Yireichai. It doesn't say B'Yireichais.
Since it has to be moving in.
What? I don't know which one, but it says B'Yiga B'kaf Yireichai.
One.
Where does it say B'kaf Yireichai? Okay, weiter. Yeah? What's the V'Yiga B'kaf Yireichai? Okay, but anyway, let's move on. Sagt die Gemara weiter. Sagt die Gemara. Aber Rabbanon hai be'ofkei imoi mai tarshi bei. Sagt die Gemara mi boile lechdi idach der bishua ben levi. Dar bishua ben levi milamid shehelu avok marger loisov ad kisei hakaved. Behei ofkei imoi is an extra. And the teretz is, it's coming to say a mordig thing. And this is very important. What's important to know? That what? That shehelu avok margeloisav ad kisei hakaved. That they kicked up so much dirt ad kisei hakaved. Why is that important? I'm b'klei yakar. What exactly the chiddush is in this thing? But that needs a hezber also. Ksiv hacha be'avkei imay. Ksiv hasam v'anan avik raglov. That the avok raglov is going on the shechina. So in other words, that the avok got all the way up to the kisei hakaved. So the Gemara vaytem. Why is it called Giranasha? Shenasha mi mekoymai va'ala. It slipped from its place va'ala and it went up. Their strength slipped. Hayu lenashim. Rav Yosef Chalina might say davar shalach biyankiv v'nafal b'Yisrael. Davar shalach biyankiv ze Giranasha v'nafal b'Yisrael shepashat Yisurai b'chol Yisrael. Right? So it was Davar Shalach B'Yankiv, V'Nafal B'Yisrael. Davar Shalach B'Yankiv Zegid Anasha, V'Nafal B'Yisrael, Shaposh Yisrael B'Chol Yisrael. Again, this is like the way we were learning that the Issa is dafka on the sons of Yankiv and not in Yankiv himself. It's maybe a little gishmak. What's the pasuk? This is a Velt Gemara, a very, very famous Gemara. A lot of Torahs said about it. We're really, really running late. I don't know how much we're going to be able to cover it, but we'll say it real quickly. The pasuk says like this. It says when the Bnei Yankiv came to the fancy meal by Yosef, it says Utvoyach Tavach v'Hachein. Right? So what's the Utvoyach Tavach v'Hachein? Para lehem beis hashchita v'Hachein tol Gid Hanasha Mipneim. So right, that the pshat is that he's first of all he opened up the Beis Hashchita in front of them, and he showed them that look, it was geschachten, and he was told Gid Hanasha Mipneim, and he traded it in front of them because Gid Hanasha is also that's the Sakti Gemara Kimanda Oma Gid Hanasha Nesel of Neinayach. Now, Frek Toisvis, what? Yeah. Fraktosis, what's the raya that the get anashas nesel v'nei noyach? What's the raya to get anashas nesel v'nei noyach? Fraktosis. Just like by the shchita, right? What's the shot? Why was the shchita nesar? Why was he part of the hemorrhage based ashchita? Because why? Because they were kadman Torah. The office were mekayim kadman Torah. So what's the big deal? So what's the raya from the Gil Anosha? It's all kadman Torah. That is the kasha of Tosis. So Tosis, major terutzim in Tosis. Tosis is the second teretz of Tosis that the pshat is, even though a ben noach is not aser in he's not also, he doesn't need shchita, but he needs nechira. And from there comes a massive tumult. So Tosis is being mechadish that a guy can't eat roadkill, he can't eat a nevela. I mean, the pasuk says mefurish that what? That the pasuk says mefurish that what? That laker asher b'sharechut and va'achola. It's mefurish that avada you're allowed to eat. He's avada you're allowed to eat nevela. And they have a psikta in Parshas Noach that's mashma like that nevelas were also living in Noach. They want to say Torah. It's a very, very, very big planta in Tosis. The way to say Tosis, the easiest is the Tosis Arosh, that the Tosis Arosh says in Tosis. Tosis doesn't mean nechira. Tosis means that what? That Eva Menachai is also. Eva Menachai is also to a guy also, and therefore it's like Tosis that the pshat is parallel Beisha Shchita was also Eva Menachai and told Gil Anosha. So why they do Gil Anosha? It's out nesa live nei noyach. So, but I would just say one knech. The shaila of Kimanda Oma Gil Anosha nesa live nei noyach is not the question about all the other yisurim that we have a shaila of things on nesa. Gil Anosha we discussed is a specific isser. It's an isser that was only the bnei noyach. Only the bnei Yisrael were nesar. If it's like our cheshbon, like the cheshbon that's kenim or not, whatever it is, it's just the bnei noyach. The question is about this specific isser that was only the bnei yankiv. That's the question. If it was nesar bnei noyach, meaning was it nesar? When did that thing go into effect? All the other stuff that would from Yitzchak and Yankiv, the others were mekayim Torah. That's how obvious that they were mekayim, and this is we were not. And tveach tavich v'achin, no problem. But this is Gil Anosha nesel v'nei noach is a very, very specific shaila, and that's what the Gemara is addressing. So the Gemara writes, "V'yasi Yaakov levadi Amar Rabbi Eliezer Shem Shtay Alpachim Ketanim Mikan l'tzadikim shechav alem b'moinam Yosem Igufam." Very, very, very shver Gemara. V'chol kach lama lefi shein poishtim yedayim begezel. So now we understand. Now they're going to be somebody that's chav alem b'moinam Yosem Igufam. Such a shver lashon Gemara. Obviously, everybody says everybody's most of the pshat is because they understand that it all came from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. That's why they're not pushing Yadayim Begezel, and therefore, if everything came from Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and they understand that this is the tzivoy, and it's supposed to be by them, and therefore they're moist nefesh. But if he ain't pushing Yadayim Begezel, they're moist nefesh. Yosem Igufan. It obviously all the hezberim are still coming short. So we have a kishime adol shachar amrav lezem mekalatam chacham shlei yetzi yichidi b'layla. That from here on in we learn that a tam chacham should not leave b'yichidi b'layla. So we have to move. Hine hu zoyres agoyrin. Oh, one second. Rabba bakana amamehacha different pshat because hine hu zoyres agoyrin. That what by Rus it says that I know for sure that he's going to sleep here tonight. How do you know he's going to sleep here tonight? Maybe he's going to go out. Maybe he's going to go home. Teretz says he's not going home at night. That Avram Avinu waited till the morning. Hakadosh Baruch Hu was mitzavim for the brisbane and Absarim. He waited till the morning because at night you can't go. That Yaakov Avinu sent out the Shvatim to go look at Yosef, to go find Yosef. So he sent Yosef to go look at the Shvatim. He said, "Lech no Re'eh you can only do by day." I don't understand what this Re'eh is because obviously he said Re'eh because he wanted them to see it. Shleim Achecha. What's the grace of Re'eh? Yeah, is it right? The Rav Mehacha, Vayizach Le Hashem, Amar Rabbi Kiva, Shalti Yisrael, Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Yeshua, Shel Imum, Shahochu Likach Behem Limishle Benoi, Shel Rabbi Gamliel, Ksiv, Vayizach Le Hashem, V'chi Shemesh, Loi Levad Zorcha, V'aloi L'Chol Olam Zorcha. What's the vayizach loy hashemesh? V'chi hashemesh loy levadei zarcha v'loy kol l'chol zarcha. Amar Yitzchak shemesh shaba ba'avurei zarcha ba'avurei. The shemesh that's set early because of Yankov Avinu now was Zarcha Bavurai that it all of a sudden shone earlier to be Merapeh. What happened? What happened? So we explain what the whole story is. Once he already thought about returning down to Yerushalayim, that's the lashon of vayifka b'makom. Katzoli ba'il meheder. Once he davened, he wanted to return. Amakash Baruch Hu Tzadik said, "Ba'al beis meloin of yifta b'leilina miyad ba'ashemesh." Then that's this Gemara. That's miyad ba'ashemesh. That it was zarcha ba'avura. It was shemesh haba ba'avurai. That it set early, and now it went back, and now it went back. So l'churas, and needs some sort of a hezbollah that somehow, because it was ba bavurei, that's why zarcha bavurei. I just want to say this last shtickle Gemara, and then with this we're going to end. Zok the Gemara weiter. Ksiv vayikach me'avnei hamakom uksiv vayikach esa even. That what happened? First it says vayikach me'avnei hamakom and he was somber Rasha Yisaf, and then later on it says vayikach es ha-even. He took the even. Was it many stones or was it one stone? Famous. Rashi brings it down in Chumash. Very, very famous Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Melamed and his kapsu koloisim avodim l'makom echad v'chol echad ve'echad emeres olai yaniach tzadik zez roishay. Everybody was vying for the opportunity to support the tzaddik. Tana the kulam nivlu be'echad, and they all turned into one stone. So here, the Achrayim are very, very famucha with this kasha, very famucha with this Gemara. That are you talking that what's going on over here? That kulam nivlu be'echad. How does that help the problem? This is the Velt's problem. Everybody famous kasha. This shaila that l'chura, what's it going to help that they're attached now, but they're still the stone that's over here is still not the stone that's over here. And what does it help that they're now attached? This is the kasha that the Achrayim asked. Everybody has heard this kasha a million times. There's a chesidish Torah, the Torah says period, there's a problem, but this is the shaila, and once there's no period, nobody cares, and they're not going to argue. I don't know why it's what?
Who was the echad?
What's that?
Oh,
Dr. Briskerov, famous pshat, very geshmak. Dr. Briskerov, look at the Gemara in Chulin Daf Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis. That the Gemara in Chulin Daf Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis says, "V'kulam nivlu be'echad." Kulam nivlu be'echad is not that they got attached; they were all swallowed into one, and they all became one. So if it all became one, it's not a kasha. I don't understand that teretz because l'chura nivlu be'echad means so then obviously it disappeared. Where did it go? Where did that matter happen? What happened? Where did that matter go?
I thought one, and the other 11 wouldn't include in the one. That's not what it means.
Kulam Mivul Be'echad is they got swallowed up. The Briskerov compares it to the paras of Parai. But the paras of Parai were a dream. Over here, if it wasn't a dream, what happened to that? So, if are the stones here or they're not here? The other stones, did they disappear? They're not here. But I just want to say two mahalchim real quickly on this thing. First of all, what was the V'yasam Rash Yosef? What's the V'yasam Rash Yosef? V'yasam Rash Yosef is that he put it there to prop up his head, right? So very geshmak. If they're all there to prop up his head, so they were all under his head. They were all pancaked, and they're all Merash Yosef, so maybe they all took part in propping up his head. He was sleeping on the side. That's one mahalch maybe you could say for this kasha. But Lamaisa, I want to say Lani is daiti that this is Achrayim Kasha, because the kasha you have to pick a side. Is the stone an entity or it's not? If the stone isn't, if the stone is an if it's not an entity, so it can't complain and it can't be niskapsu and it can't have a chuka. But if it's an entity, and there's either it's the malach itself or the stone itself, however you can understand, but the stone is an entity, and the stone now became into one entity. So what's the kasha? The kasha assumes that stones are not entities, and memela what? And memela, even if you're going to attach them, but they're never going to become into one. They're never going to become one entity because stones are just matter, and memela, nothing changed in the matter, right? That's what the kasha is geboit on. But that's forgetting that the whole chazal is based on the fact that the stone have some sort of a rotzen, and that whatever that thing is that had this rotzen that was in this kapsu, that became one. And if that became one, now it's attached. And if it's attached, it's all one. You're not happy. No, you're not happy? Why not? Okay. What? Rablazy here? No. Okay, what? I'm asking to this. What? Mamarav Shach. No? Okay. And Lamaisa, there's one more knech. It's very, very late, but it's one more knech that we have to read ois, that this is brought down la halacha. This mamash negeh la halacha, this chazal, it's negeh b'negeh mixing, if you want to, by tzitzis or by ritzuas, if you want to move it around from one place to the other, one place has closer kedusha, closer to the kesher, and you want to move it around, let's say somebody's, the ritzua becomes some worn out, so you want to turn it around. So it's a big shaila. So it's brought down, I don't remember who offhand, but the Briskei Tshuva brings down for somebody that wants to bring a raya from this case, that the pshat is once they're attached, it's good. Yeah? Once they're attached, it is good. And Briskei Tshuva is not happy. He says you don't bring a raya from a medrash, you don't bring a raya from a gada. He's not masking to this raya. I don't understand this raya either, but just for a different svara. There's nothing you could do. In other words, only one person is ultimately going to be touching Yankov Avinu's ear, right? That was only possible. But at least everybody wanted to at least take part, right? The question by a ritzua or by a talus is who's going to get more kedusha, not if you're going to be a part of the kedusha. And in the question of so in other words, the question of the stone and this chazal doesn't address the question if it's a maila of being closer to the source of kedusha or not. It only addresses if there's a maila being attached to the kedusha. That's for sure. It's a maila being attached. But now you can clear. Maybe once I was in a hierarchy, maybe there's a hierarchy in the kedusha itself. And with Bez Hashem, we'll see you tomorrow. Bez Hashem, 10:30. Kol Tov. Bye.